So what do you do during the waiting? I quickly mentioned that waiting is not a passive exercise. As a matter of fact, true waiting requires dedicated work. Innovative ideas aren't always given a grand welcome. And most times, the way you handle the waiting will determine what the final outcome will be like. As you deploy your ideas, you plant the seeds like we saw in the previous episode. There'll come a time when all you would have to do is to wait. You might as well fall in love with waiting, okay? Because no one has ever executed any great thing without waiting for a period of time. Because every seed needs time to germinate and then to grow. So you're welcome to Made for More with Oheji. I am your host, Oheji Emmanuel Iji. This is your podcast series that gives you inspiration and education to set your life on the upward spiral into all you were created to be. So you must pardon me, we have got some noise on today's episode. Kindly pardon us. A dog barking in the neighborhood, and we had no power, so we had to create our own power using a generator. So please pardon us for today. The noise might interfere a bit. Just try to pardon that. So we'll be going into the very next episode following the seed. Today's episode is called The Process. And today, I actually cannot wait to let you into the deeper stuff we have to share today. So you're once again most welcome. See you in a bit. All right. So talking about the process now, here is really what the process would look like. The process comes after the seed. We started looking at the beginning of innovative ideas, and then we saw that the beginning is actually a seed form in the second episode. And now in the third episode, we're looking at the process. So the process is really everything that happens after the seed begins to germinate. Once the seed gets into the ground, once you start executing your ideas, how would the process look like? So here's what the process looks like. Number one, you throw the seed into the ground. That is how you begin. You throw the seed into the ground, and this is when you think through the idea, you meditate upon it, and in some instance, you even say things about it, either to people or to yourself, through affirmations and things like that. And I must give a huge shout out to two very important persons that have really taught me meditation. I've really loved that. Kojo Emade and Victor Atokolo are two amazing persons in my life who have really taught me how to meditate, the period in which I incubate my ideas and then have them executed subsequently. I must give big shout out to the two wonderful figures in my life. And then the seed needs that period of meditation, that period of germination. The seed needs that period to transform. The seed needs that period to transform into the next stage. And the next thing which I'd mentioned the next thing which I'd mentioned the process looks like is the germination itself. The seed then germinates. The seed the seed goes through that process, that transformative process, that it develops into plants. The seed would then have to change form. This is actually the point where you know that results are beginning to come, but they are not fully well developed as much as possible yet. but the process has begun. And the germination process is a very important process in the development of the plant. So your innovative ideas, at the point where they are sprouting, it is still a very delicate moment, because the plant is yet to fully get solid in the ground, get grounded, get well rooted. So you need to be very careful how you execute, and you need to set out with good focus and discipline to protect that idea, protect the idea from predators, protect the idea from your own self. And then the final thing that then happens is that the plant then grows into a tree. The plant grows into a tree, grows into whatever else it's supposed to look like. Then the third thing which the process would look like is that the plant then grows into a tree, grows into whatever else it's supposed to look like. It then grows. Don't forget to go through the previous episode of the seed and look through the needs of the seed given the previous episode. They are also very relevant here. The soil, the nurturing, the nutrients, and the space that is needed. The process, particularly the early developmental process, is going to need that level of attention, where you try to give it good soil, where you nurture it, where you ensure it has all the adequate nutrients needed for the plant to grow, and then you give it space to grow. If there's no space, a tree grows stunted. If there's no space, a tree grows stunted. So try your very best to give space. Space is very important to the seed. And don't forget also nutrients. Nutrients, there's something I learned about how nutrients come. Nutrients come a lot from your interactions with your community. Nutrients come from the information you gather in executing your ideas. Nutrients are either people who have experiences in that area, where you can interact with them either physically or through books, through things like that. You need nutrients. We're seeing the last time that you bounce your idea off a couple of people to get feedback. Those steps can help improve the process, the developmental process of the plant. So you must not forget that what we're looking at right now is the process, and the process is really the tree. If you remember, we started with that analogy of and the question of which of the three is most important: the seed, the tree, or the fruit. And we started by looking at the seed, and now we're looking at the process, which is the tree. The development, and which development is entirely really what would cause the fruit or the outcome to manifest. So we're looking at this really important. So here is the thing about what you must do. You must know that a person nurturing a seed does not act like everyone else. You really have to put in some dedication into what you do. A person nurturing a seed or growing a seed or growing a tree does not act like everyone else. You have an idea which you want to execute and see gain or attain huge success. You really would not act like everyone else. There are certain things you must do. Number one, I think you should act with a great deal of responsibility, give good attention, and create the right condition. The right condition, never forget that the right condition is needed for the seed to grow into a tree. The right condition is needed. It takes a responsible planter to create the right conditions. The right conditions would mean you have to really set the right atmosphere. You need to take away the idea from people who can kill the idea. Negative affirmations, negative words, negative thoughts can spoil your idea. So, and it's really good to see things from just that bright side of life is the best part to view things from, because a negative mind really would not be able to attract innovative ideas. Innovative ideas don't get stuck to a negative mind. The most powerful of ideas can get killed, life snuffed out of them, suffocated, choked, because you are not giving the idea the right environment. So your thoughts are the first place your ideas get planted, even before execution. And then while you start executing, you need to create the right conditions around the idea as well, the right people and things like that. Don't forget to water. You need to water. That is number 2. Water the seed. Some seeds may not be sustained through just the natural supply of rainfall and all. So you need to create a good watering system for your seed. That is speaking from that direct angle, the example we're using of the seed, that agricultural process, right? Planting a thing and seeing it grow. But talking about your ideas now, you need to water your ideas. Information, people, very important. Knowledge, and this is where the innovator themselves has to have a rich mind. A mind rich enough to pour into the idea and the rest of the team. And the team comes to support the innovator to make all the possibilities well expanded and richer. Finally, you take weeds out. One of the things you must remember always is that seeds can only sustain themselves or protect themselves before they get planted. Once a seed gets planted, it becomes the responsibility of the person who planted it. And then there are many things that would naturally grow to suppress or to oppress or to create harsh conditions or difficulty for the idea that is the seed. So you need to create the process, the system through which you take those oppositions out of the way. You need to create the process. We'll look into this more deeply in the next episode, which we call the end game. That's to give you heads up. You shouldn't miss the next episode for nothing. We'll be looking at the end game, where we'll be really seeing that process, the final process before the full manifestation. Sorry I let the cat out of the bag, but I think I needed to do that because truly, as you take weeds out, the period which you care for the seed is important, to take those things that can truly oppress the seed. And this is where there might be people, there might be concepts that you had learned before which are not productive, and it would be foolhardy for you to continuously execute your ideas using a process that is counterproductive. Anything that is not producing results for you should not be implemented. Check your idea. Anything that is not working is not working. You stop doing it. Otherwise, you won't be able to achieve any massive success because you keep rolling in circles. If it's not working, it's not working. You don't kill yourself over it. You create an alternative process. And this is why if you have a team that you discuss and brainstorm on ideas before you move into execution phase, if you have a rich team, you would actually know that indeed the richness of your team contributes to the success of the ideas. The wider or the more options you have, the more quality options you have on your team to make contributions and suggestions to the development of the tree or your idea, the better the outcome. So this is where we'll leave it up for what you must do during the process in giving good attention to the tree to ensure the tree grows to the point of maturity where it gives you the desired outcome. Thank you for staying with us till this time. We'll be back to wrap up in just a bit. So a big thank you for joining us today as we look at the process, that is the tree, in the evolution of the seed, how the seed moves from one process to another. So we started, like you remember, looking at the beginning. Then we looked deeper into the beginning, which we call the seed. And then we went on to look today on this episode at the process, which is everything that happens from germination to maturity of the plant, of the tree, before the outcome, the final outcome is produced. Everything that happens from that period is really what we studied today. And indeed, that is a very delicate period which you should give good attention to ensure that the right results come out. So thank you very much for joining us for yet another episode where we looked at the process. I'm really excited. So thank you so much for the feedback received so far. It's really been amazing. We really appreciate everyone who has sent in a kind word telling us what we're doing right, and even the words or the suggestions on the things that we should work on to improve on. Thank you so much for those information. We are really, really grateful to receive those. We have actually started implementing some of them because they made a lot of sense to us, and truly we hope to keep making things better as we go to produce what we really have, the vision we have for this community. Thank you so much. Don't forget that the Made for More community is one which is proud to have you as a member of it. Please actively participate in our activities, and we'll get to see how things will evolve into other more interesting engagement between you and us. I'm really, really glad to see the evolution of this community into that stage. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really glad to have you join us on this episode. So until we meet next time, don't forget that you are made for more. Your life is bigger than what you see at every point in time. Allow the untamable fire of faith burning within your heart to connect you to where you're meant to be. So until we see you next time, have a good one, stay safe, stay blessed.